McCollum Wellness Radio.
In my life, there came a time when I had to make a change. You know, the things just weren't right. I looked around for someone else to blame. I searched and I searched and I reached down inside. And I knew when I found there's a light I can't hide. I can be free, I can be free. I can rise above, I can be free, I can be free. I will rise up.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum coming to you from KSCO. A very beautiful day here in Santa Cruz, and I hope you guys are having a great day and enjoying this nice weather that we're having. I was listening to Tom Quinn's show coming in. It's always a great inspiration to hear the guests that he has on, what they're talking about. A lot of times I come in to this hour with a vague idea of what I want to cover, but oftentimes it's just, I call it divine intervention on what I come up with each show. And a lot of times Tom's show spurs me on. And so one of the things that they were talking about is the toxicity that our body accumulates from all kinds of various things. Now, they were talking about a specific thing on the air that I'm not going to mention because I am on Facebook as well, and I don't want my show to be shut down. It's crazy that I have to say that, but you know, he was mentioning mercury, and mercury is such a toxic element. It's probably the most toxic element on the planet. And we have it everywhere. It's gotten so spread out through our environment. Even the lakes up in the Sierras, you can't eat more than one fish or two fish out of the lakes. And if you're pregnant or in childbearing years, you shouldn't have any. Because they used the mercury to extract gold from the quartz ore back in the 1850s. And that mercury stays there. And it stays in the water, stays in the mud. It gets grows into the plankton. And then the fish end up consuming the smaller fish or what have you. And the accumulation of that mercury is pretty terrible. So the thing that I really want to talk about is how you can actually eliminate the toxic buildup of mercury and other heavy metals in your body. Because one of the speakers today was talking about being injured severely from 6 injections that she had, and some of the symptoms that went through her body, and how bad she got and what she had to do to get well. I didn't hear her talk too much about what the process was to get well. Tom Quinn was talking about chelating those things out of the body, but how do you do that? So I wanted to go into that today because I think it's really important to not do this incorrectly. You can actually cause more damage. And, you know, considering 1 out of 33 boys in this country are considered autistic right now, 1 out of 33, the women's girls is not quite as high of a percentage. But, you know, there's something that's been accumulated in our environment over time that's getting accumulated in our bodies that's causing this increase, rapid increase in this terrible brain dysfunctional condition. And I'm going to go into several of those things today and what we can do about it, what we have done about it. I work with a bunch of doctors around the country, Canada and Mexico, that specialize in this. We specialize in helping getting these heavy metals and toxins out of the body. If you take a look at, there's some things on the internet where you can watch mercury being introduced to a dendrite or an axon, whatever it is in the brain, and you see it just shrink away. It's almost like a sea anemone that when you touch it, it shrinks up and goes into hiding. Well, that's what happens to our brain cells when we are exposed to heavy metals and toxins, and let alone the increased amount of insulin that gets into our brain because our blood-brain barrier is blown open through these toxins, and I'll go into that a little bit more. And then diabetes type 3. So diabetes type 1 means your pancreas no longer is producing insulin. This used to be called juvenile diabetes, but then so many kids were getting type 2 diabetes at a young age, they couldn't call it that anymore. Type 2 diabetes is when your cells can't absorb the insulin that your body's making. Your body's still making it, but it's not efficiently bringing the sugar out of the bloodstream into the cells, and then that becomes toxic, and too much sugar in your blood will kill you. Not enough sugar in your blood will kill you. Not enough oxygen will kill you, and too much water will kill you. So there's this thing called homeostasis where everything is in this nice range, and as long as we stay in that nice range, we'll be healthy and live long. That nice range has to do with the chemical toxicity in our body. If that gets too high, it will make us sick, destroy our organs, our immune system, our memory, and ultimately shorten our life. And if you don't have enough nutrients in your body, it can cause, the lack of those nutrients can cause you to become sick. So homeostasis is this amazing thing that your innate intelligence knows how to do, which is to keep just the right amount of everything in your body so that you can stay healthy. So I have a question from a listener. I will go into it in a little bit about what's ingredients in milk causes inflammation. It's a great question. And if you do have any questions, please call in and David will bring them over to me. So when you take a look at our bodies and the accumulated toxins in our body, I mean, first of all, there's only 3 stressors in life. There's chemical, physical, and mental. So if you have too much physical stress on your body, it can crush you or kill you. Too much chemical stress on your body, it will kill you. Too much mental stress on your body, it will kill you. And vice versa. So as an example, if you were in outer space and there was no gravity up there in outer space, your bones would not develop the strength they need to hold up your body on the planet. And when you come back to Earth, then you would not be able to sustain yourself. That's one thing that they realized years and years and years ago. So right now we are engaging in a detoxification program you may or may not be interested in, but it is so science-based, and it is done in a way that is on a gradient that your body can handle and have. So when we take a look at what makes you sick and your neighbor not, or your husband or wife not, or one sibling sick and another one not, maybe one sibling has chronic diseases and asthmas and allergies and the other's perfectly healthy. You might have been eating the same food, you might have been drinking the same water, breathing the same air, probably sharing the same clothes. Well, what's the difference? One immune system is weaker than the other for sure, but also the toxic load buildup is not tolerated in one of the siblings versus the other. And I've talked about this a lot, but if you can imagine a bucket, and that bucket is the amount of toxins your body can tolerate before it gets overwhelmed and can no longer tolerate them anymore, meaning they're spilling out of the bucket into your bloodstream, into every cell in your body, every organ, and into your brain. Those toxins are going to now destroy anything they touch. We know that the Industrial Work Group did a study on 10 children in the United States and found out that there were 278 chemicals found in the blood, umbilical blood of kids not ever, who'd never lived outside of the womb. 278 chemicals. They were neurotoxins, cancer-causing agents, just a slew of different things. And you go, well, how could that be? And why only 10 people? Well, it costs thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to do those studies. And the Industrial Work Group, since there's no monetary gain by coming up with a statistic there, they don't get funding to allow a larger study. Tom Quinn was talking about the funding and the multi-quadrillion dollars made by the big pharma on making sure that everybody on the planet is consuming some of their merchandise. And it's really merchandise. They want everybody to have merchandise. I remember when I was a kid, when McDonald's got kind of famous, one opened up down the street. Everybody wanted to go to that after 12 o'clock at night on a Friday night. That's where you'd find us, right? Scarfing that stuff. So it was a supply and demand, and they made the demand based on advertising that made it look like it was going to be the best thing since sliced bread. Not that sliced bread is very good anymore, but in the day it probably was. So, they've used their tactics to make everybody want to consume and accumulate a horrendous amount of toxins in their body. And, I highly recommend that people take off. You really need to look at the statistics on a scientific level and not go with the party line one way or another. I've been in practice for 33 years. In the last 6 months, I've seen horrendous amount of people come in with damage done because of the things that were occurring in the last 2 years. And on both sides, people that just caught the virus, quote unquote, and people that were protected against it, having had multiple problematic symptoms. One gentleman right now I am treating had foot drop. And, and that's not fun when you can't walk in well. And we're treating him with a stem cell machine. And hopefully we're getting some progress. Last time I saw him, he said, yes, it seems like it's helping him. So, you have 2 roads to travel in this path, in this planet, maybe 3. One is to do nothing, sit on your bum and do nothing. One is to go down the mainstream path. The other is to take the road less traveled by, according to Robert Frost. It made all the difference in the world. So if you were to go down the main artery of decisions of people healthcare wise on this planet, you're going to go down Western medicine, and you should look at the statistics of Western medicine and go, wow, I like those statistics. They're right on. We're rated #1 in the world for health. We barely spend any money on health. We barely take any drugs, and we're only 4% of the population. That would be awesome. However, we're going to go to a quick commercial. We're going to listen to Lauren and Mark talk about the stem cell machine, and then I'll give you the real statistics as soon as we come back.
This is Dr. Duncan McCollum here, and I have Pastor Mark with me. He came in and experienced the stem cell machine, the TRT machine, and he wanted to just go ahead and tell you a little bit of his experience. Yeah, I injured my knee years ago from sports and being dumb, and after the first stem cell treatment, after the very first one, I could go full knee squat, and doctors told me that we want to replace your knee, and my knee would just ache just from sitting, and you probably experienced that if you have knee problems, but now, no ache, I can walk without pain, and when I sit, I had no pain, and I just love it. I'd recommend it to anybody. It's terrific. When we look at your x-rays, your discs in your knees look pretty good, too. Yeah, they're improving so much. I just love it. I can't wait for my treatment every week. Highly recommend it to anyone. So you'd recommend they do the $49 special to see if it will work for them? Oh, absolutely. That's what drew me in with the $49 special. I thought, I got $50 to spend to just see, and it certainly has paid off. Call 831-459-9990. Thanks.
Hey, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum, and I have this amazing patient, Lauren, here, and she had a few things to say.
Hi, I'm Lauren Spencer, a local realtor, and I've been seeing Duncan for years now. I had a biking accident and he's been adjusting me since then, and it's been amazing. But lately, I've had trouble with my feet, and I'm an avid walker, avid biker, avid golfer, and my feet were aching all the time. And I tried Duncan's TRT machine, which is an amazing stem cell machine that rejuvenates the cells. And my feet, I've had like 3 or 4 sessions with the machine, and my feet are like new, no aches, no pains. It's a miracle. So I really highly recommend Duncan and his chiropractic services, but also that TRT machine. You got to try it. Thanks.
Wow, thanks, Lauren. That was awesome. So we still have the $49 special. Come on in and see if it works for you. Thank you.
The truth is right in front of you. You will see. It will make a better road. You search and you reach down inside. And you'll know when you find there's a light you can hide.
Hello, Dr. Duncan McCollum back here, and appreciate Lauren and Pastor Mark for their testimonials. They're great people, and I just would love to see more of you come in and check this thing out. Luann is now running the machine, and it's so neat when she brings somebody up. We had a woman that's been a patient for a while that came up, this was Friday at about 11:30. She came in really terrible low back pain, hip pain. I gave her a chiropractic adjustment. She felt better. She went down and got a stem cell machine, and she walked out basically carrying her cane in her hand and going, look, I don't even need my cane. And the whole office broke into cheers. We were all, goosebumps. And, maybe that miracle is sitting there waiting for you. And, it's worth $49 to try. There have been people that we haven't helped, but it's few and far between. And I hope that you're not one of them, but I hope that you at least come in and see what we can do to help you. Okay, so, and again, $49, 831-459-9990, McCollum Family Chiropractic in Capitola. So before the break, we were talking about, which path to go down. Do you want to go down the path most traveled by or the path less traveled by? The path most traveled by would be my rendition of Western medicine. And I was saying, yeah, we're rated #1 in health. We take fewer drugs than anybody in the world, and we're 4% of the population. But that's factually not the case. We're rated 47th in the world for health. And we take anywhere from 50 to 70% of all the drugs made in the world, depending on what article you read. And we're only 4% of the population. So with those statistics, would you put your dollar on those statistics? Now, emergency medicine, absolutely. Absolutely. You guys all know my appendix ruptured. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Western medicine. But handling the symptoms associated with deficiencies or toxicities, or interference in the body just to handle the symptoms with something that isn't going upstream to correct the problem does not make sense any way, shape, or form. Whether you're talking about sense mentally or dollar-wise, it does not make sense to go down that path. So you have a choice in your life, and that is to make a change, do something different. So, again, the show before me, Michael Quinn was talking about toxins. He specifically was talking about mercury and a lot of other things that they find in the mandated things. But those accumulate in the body, and our body, some of our bodies are much more able to dump that stuff than others. And it's usually the unhealthy people that have the harder time doing it. For instance, if you had a brand new vacuum with a brand new clean filter in it, you could vacuum the whole house and still have a functioning vacuum with a filter that's not plugged. But if you use that same vacuum for 6 months, 8 months, and that filter was so plugged that it wouldn't suck anything, and it's actually heating up and about to explode, you can get the idea of a healthy person versus a sick person. I'm going to run and get my phone charger real quick. All right, I'm back. So basically what we want to do is we want to learn how to clean out our bodies, get rid of that toxic load buildup so that our bodies can function well. You know, we're either spending all of our energy, I hope this works. We're either spending all of our energy fighting the toxins and the internal battles of getting up in the morning, or everything's running so efficiently, all of our energy goes out to create life. And, you know, these days, it's not as, you know, 66 years old now, I find myself being challenged with things, you know, that I never had those challenges before. But, you know, I know that they're there. I know what they're about. And, you know, it takes discipline to try to figure those out and to do something about them. You know, one thing, last week we talked about children in chiropractic, and I had a couple of testimonials with the children, and, you know, I've had some really good feedback from that. So the best time to be healthy is right now, whether you're 8 months old or 99 years old. The oldest person I ever treated was 105 and his wife was 103. They were amazing. They lived in Scotts Valley, raised their family in Scotts Valley. And well, I'm really didn't even get my computer plugged in here. And you know, they raised their kids on farmed fresh vegetables and animals that they grew and raised. And they were amazing people, full of life, and they lived a great life. But their toxic load was not very much. It was limited to, you know, maybe what they got in the water and the air, but their food was all organically grown, and they had, you know, they were very healthy people. So there's no time like the present to start. All of us have a different size toxic load bucket. I mentioned it earlier today. You can have a shot glass. As soon as that shot glass is filled up with toxins, you're going to get sick. You can have a pint or a quart. You know, I always like to say that George Burns had a quart or a gallon because he smoked and drank and who knows what all he did, but he lived to be 105 or something and had an incredibly healthy life. We don't know the size of our bucket. There's no way to find out what it is, because basically when the toxins are stored in our body and they leak out of that bucket, which is basically fat cells, our fat cells store toxins because they can be still stored inertly in the fat. But once they're full, there's no place for those toxins to go. It's like playing musical chairs. So those toxins are continuing to flow around in our body. They get to the cells, they get to the brain, they start to destroy it. They start to cause these free radicals. They oxidize different parts of the body, just like a car with the old paint that you would touch and it comes off on your hand. So what the goal is, you could try to run faster and faster and faster and just live the best life you can until you drop, which you might want to do anyway. But what if we did that and we actually detoxified our body at the same time? So we have I've alluded to it, but we're doing a 3-month detox program. The first phase is the prep phase, where we help get your body ready to detox. So many of the store-bought things don't take into granted that you might have leaky gut, your liver might be plugged, your kidneys might not be working well, your lungs might not be working well. And if you try to pull the toxins out of your fat cells during that time, you're just going to make yourself sick. And even if you don't get sick, you're going to be destroying or damaging the cells, the tissue on a cellular level in your body. And you usually don't feel that until it's too late. So the first phase is the prep phase. The second phase is what we call the body phase, where we actually start to pull the heavy metals and toxins and chemicals and glyphosate out of the body, where it's stored in the fat cells and tissues, organs like the liver and the kidney. And then the third phase is what we call the brain phase, where we give you a substance to allow these chelators to go across the blood-brain barrier, grab onto the toxins, the metals, the chemicals, and pull that out of the blood-brain barrier, out of the brain. And also it will help tighten up the junctions on the blood-brain barrier so we don't get as much insulin in there. Plus, since you're balancing your diet and balancing, your ketone to insulin consumption, which we teach. And in fact, if you don't have my book, New Hope for Sciatica, I highly recommend you get it. Go to Amazon.com. It's on book on tape. You can get the digital version or the book version, and listen to it. There's so much great information on the proper diets, how to get your body to start burning the correct fuel, what the correct fuel is, and it gives you a step-by-step procedure that you can do over several weeks to actually detoxify your body and get it ready for a heavier detox. So I hope that you guys take advantage of that. New Hope for Sciatica. It's available on Amazon digitally, in print, and or audio files. The only book I have of the 6 I've written, it's the only one that's an audio file yet. Okay, so a listener asked a great question. What ingredients in milk causes inflammation? Well, that's a loaded question because, why can one person drink milk and not get inflamed and another drink milk and get inflamed? First off. So if your body has had damage to the gut lining, if it's had, if you've taken a lot of antibiotics over your lifetime, street drugs, alcohol, had just chronic weak immune system, things like that, doesn't matter what you put in your body, it's going to more than likely cause an immune response. Gluten is another one of those. So, you got to make sure your digestive system's working well, and so that you can consume these things. And too much of anything, people in the United States have been drinking way too much milk. Now, commercial milk is terrible because if you think about it, they gather up these cows and they put them in, the dairy. The dairies are jam-packed full because they need as much milk as they can get. The cows are kept close together in mud that is filled up with their own stuff. And oftentimes they will get cuts in their feet. So they're injected with antibiotics, and also they're injected with growth hormone, estrogens, and things that make their milk production 30% more than normal. So you're getting a product through that commercially produced milk, which is unhealthy to begin with. So there's all kinds of substances in there. You can get hormone disruptors in there because of they might eat grain that has been sprayed with glyphosate. Most all grain in our country has been sprayed with Roundup or glyphosate to increase production. So the question is a loaded question. I guess the way I would rephrase it is, how do I change the makeup of my body and my digestive system so that I can enjoy some nice organic milk without having the ramifications from it? Also, when they homogenize milk, they take all fats of different, milk, if you get raw milk, which is hard to find, you can still find it in this state. Some states you can't find it at all. But they take the raw milk, the raw milk, and they homogenize it. Means they pasteurize it, which is to flash heat it to kill any bugs and parasites in it. And then they homogenize it, meaning they take all of the different size proteins in there and they smash them down to be the same. And a lot of these proteins that they take and they crush them up do not exist in nature. So now you're trying to consume a milk protein that had never existed in nature like that before. So our body can't digest that. So that alone can cause a lot of problems with the digestion. And then, so the thing about the pasteurization, when they mass produced milk back in the day, and they had to back in whenever century it was or decade, there was a lot of reason to pasteurize it because of the uncleanliness, because of the infected udders of the cows that they, just beat up to get enough milk out while they're injecting them with hormones and antibiotics to try to kill the stuff that's on the nipples of the cows. So it's that was the reason that they wanted to do that. But when you have farmers that are raising happy cows that aren't, damaged during the milking process, and they're grass-fed without grains that are containing glyphosate or other types of chemical sprays, that milk is amazing. And usually people that have milk sensitivities or which cause inflammation in the body will not have a reaction to that. The other one is the caseins in milk, the lactose in milk can also, after a while, it will build up and cause an allergic reaction. First time you took it, it wouldn't be, but eventually you develop an allergy to these things. Goat's milk is great. These days you can drink goat's milk or nut milk. Thank you, Marcia. Nut milk is awesome. Back in the day, a friend of mine had a goat farm down in Aromas, and we'd go out and hang out there. A bunch of musicians would go out and drink his goat milk, and it was pretty gamey. I didn't really like it. But when you get the goat milk in the grocery stores now, like some of the local natural food stores, it tastes pretty good. I almost can't tell the difference between goat's milk and cow milk. So you might try that too. I'm assuming you're asking this question about the ingredients, what ingredients in milk cause inflammation because you want to drink milk but are having inflammation. So that's the answer to that. We're going to go to my second commercial now. This is going to be a gentleman named Gary who came into my office a few months ago, and he was really a fun guy and had some fun things to say. So pay attention. We'll be back in a minute.
Hey everybody, this is Dr. McCollum. I have this amazing guy, Gary, here, who's a new patient to our office. And he just came up to the front and started talking about stuff, and I wanted you to just express what you were telling us.
Hi, Dr. McCollum.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gary McKinney. I live in Seaside. I listen to KSCO on Saturdays, and I heard Dr. McCollum has a phenomenal show at 1 o'clock on KSCO.
Yeah.
So please check him out sometime. But the real reason is I've been a client of Dr. McCollum for 10 days now, and I feel like I've been with him in his office for well over, all my life. Everyone that works at the office is so helpful and so friendly. It really feels like a family. He's not just joking when he says that that they welcome you and is able to take care of every need. I came in for TRT treatment, which is a tissue regenerative therapy, which is phenomenal. And it's a little bit costly, but I mean, what price are you willing to pay for not being healthy? And because everything affects everything else, and the TRT has already made a difference in my life. But what is really satisfying to me is coming here and meeting fine people like Natalie, which is Dr. McCollum's daughter. And frequently she's the utility player running around the office. And she always, you can always tell that Natalie's on the phone because she will always say, McCollum Chiropractic, I can help you. And you know what? She can and she does. And it just makes my heart jump just to realize there's such helpful and friendly people in the office. Everyone from Angus, who runs the TRT machine, the other chiropractors in the office, and the administrative staff like Miriam and Arlene, they're very friendly and very helpful. You never have to follow up on everything. They send you messages a day before your appointments. It makes it so seamless, so bulletproof, just to be in a safe place where you can rely on treatment. And if you have a problem, Dr. McCollum will go the extra mile to make it happen. And not the least of which, Dr. McCollum, besides a chiropractor, he's a naturopath. So he's one dangerous dude in the health realm because there's all sorts of alternative methodologies he's he's using. He also has his finger on the pulse of detoxification from 5G and things of that nature, which he'll be willing to share with you as he's collecting the data. He's also a master of detoxification of heavy metals and things of that nature. And he has a very extensive survey to fill out so that he can help you better on that. And I'm looking forward to the detox process as well. So this is all unsolicited. Dr. McCollum asked me to say a few words. I could go on and on because I feel so comfortable here. If you want to feel comfortable at a chiropractor's office, come to Dr. McCollum. He's conveniently located off of 41st Avenue. And come on down. They're waiting for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You can be free. You will rise above whenever you're lonely and no one's around. Just try to remember the strength that we find. Oh, yeah. We can be free. We can be free. We can
Hello, it's Dr. McCollum. I'm back and want to thank my friend Steve Funderburg for that amazing song that he wrote, and Tony Lindsay, 8-time Grammy Award winner, singing it. And, you know, we can rise above and we can be free. It's just a matter of deciding it. And I wake up every day with that challenge, and sometimes I make it, sometimes I don't. But you know what? I try and I try. And, you know, I'm on the uphill swing. We all have our own health problems. That's why, our conditions, I should say, and challenges. But, you know, it's what we do that makes a difference. In my book, New Hope for Sciatica, which again, I'm promoting, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it in a book form. You can get the audio version and or the digital. But in there, there's so much good information. And this is under the chapter, Developing Your Health Legacy. What is your health legacy? What does that mean? Well, you've got your children and your children's children and your family, your immediate family that you can influence by talking to them about improving their health. You know, once you start to improve your own health, now don't be bashful, don't be shy. People are waiting for somebody to lead them into the right direction and point them the right way. You know, if you point them to my office, I'll find out whether I can help them or not. The easiest way to become a patient or see if we can help you is to do the $49 stem cell special, because it's not a lot of money out of your pocket. You sit down and talk to us. We'll look at your spine. We'll go ahead and look at some x-rays that we'll take depending on what your area of complaint is to make sure we can help you. And if we don't think we can help you, we'll let you know. There are times, you know, almost every week a guy came in with a hip the other day. I go, you know what? I don't think we're going to be able to help this hip, you know, and luckily he had the VA who were willing to put a new one in for him. But, you know, don't let it go that far. Let's get it beforehand. Let's get it started beforehand. So in this book says, I hope you see what your future health and life could be like. You may have a new understanding of your previous thoughts and operating systems regarding your health. You know, you're not stuck on what to have only one thought process with health. You can make a change anytime you want. If it's to be, it's up to you. And what you decide to do with your symptoms, whether it's pain, loss of energy, sleeping trouble, memory loss, you know, you will develop a better understanding on what you can do about it by reading the book, by coming into my office, by letting us help guide you on that. Some of the things, these are some of the results my patients have reported around the second or third week of simply changing the way the food that they put in their mouth even. Weight loss, pain relief, both acute and chronic, increased energy, loss of brain fog, younger looking. And some people say they feel like they have a stronger immune system, reduction in chronic disease syndromes, lower blood pressure, cholesterol and triglycerides in check. reduce the needs for certain medications. Now, you always want to check with your doctor for that. But there's so much, if you just take a look at your body like a machine that it is, like an internal combustion engine that it is, and you haven't tuned it up correctly, it's not going to run very well, just like any of those old jalopies you see, or even a new jalopy, a new car not taken care of is going to run terrible. Right now, gas prices are, pretty high. So you want to get the best gas mileage you can and get your car to last as long as you can. Well, I would encourage you to have the same thought process for your health. Become as healthy as you can and, enjoy a long life, disease-free as much as possible. You can turn back so many diseases. Our country is based on, our healthcare system is pretty much based on managing symptoms with pills. Many times I've played an interview I did with Dr. Jason Fung, nephrologist, author of the book, The Complete Guide to Fasting, Obesity Code, and one other I can't think of right now. But he always said, if you created a medication and gave it to somebody and it didn't kill them and didn't get them well, how long would they have to be on that drug? So if it managed their symptoms, but it didn't kill them and it didn't get them well, they'd have to be on it forever. So many of the medications that people are on right now, and again, we take 50 to 70% of all the drugs made in the world, us for our simple 4% of the world population. And they're not making us healthier because we'd be rated first in the world rather than 47th. So if you've gone down this road and you're sick of it, and you want to make a change, maybe it's time to check out our office. Again, the simplest thing to do is come in, do the stem cell $49 special. You can also go to my website, McCollumWellness.com. And on there is a neurotoxic questionnaire you can fill out and send in. I would give you a complimentary 15-minute phone consultation. Once you send it in, I won't do that without it because you're wasting your time and my time. But if you send in the neurotoxic questionnaire, I will be willing to talk to you briefly about it and find out whether there's something that we can do for you. Thank you. Oh, another Santa Cruz Jill's asking, what is hyperparathyroid cause and cure? So next to your thyroid is 4 little teeny glands. Thyroid's that big gland right by your Adam's apple, right below your Adam's apple. Thyroid is a regulatory gland. It regulates your energy. And next, there's 4 little teeny glands called parathyroid hormones on there. And right now, it's a nice question to ask, Jill, because it is becoming one of the most performed surgeries in our country on women. I think it's between 25 and 40 right now, that are getting hyperparathyroid. They're finding little tumors on those very tiny little parathyroid glands, and they're having them removed. Hyper obviously means too much, parathyroid. So parathyroid is what it does is it produces something called calcitonin, and it regulates your body's, your skeleton's ability to take in calcium. It kind of keeps our bones healthy. And these little glands are right next to the thyroid. They're located in the thyroid. They are so susceptible to toxins. So, I guess the question is, what is it? It's an overactive parathyroid. What do you do about it? You detoxify the body so that it can start to get the correct information from the brain down and can self-regulate itself. Don't know if my cell phone's going to make it through this next 10 minutes or not. So if not, thank you everybody for Facebook. You can always re-listen to these shows on McCollum Wellness Radio. It's a podcast. You can find it on Apple Radio or Apple and Spotify and anywhere else they're located. You can also go to Health Rebels if you are on Facebook. Join Health Rebels. We're going to be very active in that soon, doing our 7-week intermittent fasting course in there, Cellular Healing Diet, it's called. You can join the McCollum Academy. And there's so many different ways to get a hold of us, but just stay tuned. We're here every week, have been. Tell your friends about this. You can email us at info@McCollum Family Chiropractic with your questions, and I appreciate you sending them in, Jill. And I would love that. I don't take calls on the show, only because sometimes they're very distracting. But I will. This is a perfect way to do is call up and give Dave questions, and I can try to answer them that way. And if I know the answer, I'll let you know. If not, I'll make something up. No, just kidding. I will try to look for it and talk about it next week. So we've got a few minutes left. I really want to encourage people to realize that life is very short. I had the chance to sit down with my son and daughter, my former wife, and myself for dinner the other night. We went to a very nice local restaurant, had a great time. My daughter's taking off for a few months, and my ex-wife's gonna be out of town. And so we were having a family meal, and it was so nice to connect up with them. Even though we live locally together in town, we don't get the chance to actually sit down and communicate. And it's so important to do that. Life is so darn short. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. We could all be gone. And we fret over the craziest things. Whatever's going on in the world is terrible. In some areas, it's amazing in other areas. And we need to take a stand and do what we want there. But, a lot of these battles have been going on before we were born on this planet, and they're going to be going on till after we are on this planet. Look at the political scene. It's been like this forever. So, don't get too caught up in it. If you need to make a stand, make your stand, but don't miss the chance to live your life today and create your tomorrows. There's a phrase, never regret your yesterdays, live for today and create your tomorrows. So, go out and talk to people, say hi to people, try to make them smile, and then set out some goals. A few shows ago, I did a whole thing on how to set goals. On the one side of the paper, left side, you write what your existing life is like, maybe with a relationship, health, work, money, financial, all that kind of stuff, exercise, and then draw a line down the middle. On the right side, write down what would be the ideal thing for you. What would your ideal health look like? What would your ideal relationship be like with your family or your kids? All these kind of things. And then now you have a roadmap. If you got on a boat sailing for Hawaii and you didn't have a road map or a sailing map, chances are you'd never get to Hawaii. So don't go on a mission, without a destination in mind, I guess. So if you're going on a diet, if you're taking vitamins, if you're trying to start a business, look at where you're heading and have a destination in mind. You'd be a lot more likely to hit it. One of my old coaches used to say, you'll always hit 100% of the shots you never take. And in basketball, you always miss 100% of the shots you never take. So go ahead and take a shot, go ahead and decide to make a difference. In one of my books, I can't remember if it's New Hope for Sciatica or Turn Back Your Biological Clock, one of my neighbors passed away in a ski accident, and at his memorial, his daughter said something about her dad that stood out to me. She goes, my dad always said, you can only quit once, but you can continue to start over and over and over and over again. You can only quit once, but you can start over and over and over again. So don't be defeated. There's way too many things for you to do out there in life. I highly recommend that you go out and make somebody else smile. That's the best thing you can do, is serve other people. And when you serve other people, your life changes. We have, last week, we had Dr. Troy brought at least 3 or 4 patients up to the front who had told them something in the room about their success with him adjusting them. And, I always, when that happens, I tell the patients, would you mind telling the staff up front? Because they never get to hear this. Back in the room, the doctors get to hear about, no more headaches, the sciatica pain's gone, they can walk easier, they're sleeping better. So we really make an effort to take that up front and have all the staff hear it, because what an acknowledgement to that individual patient's body that it had the power within it to heal. All we had to do was take the interference away and the body could heal. There's lots of chiropractors around. All we want to do is remove interference and let the body heal. Now in my office, we work on 3 interferences: chemical, physical, and I don't really get into the emotional thing other than tell you that what you think about, you talk about; what you talk about, you bring about. One of my favorite chiropractors, Dr. Reggie Gold, who's no longer with us, I have a statement on the wall in my office that he wrote, and I heard him say it many times, and that is, the body needs no help, it just needs no interference. So our bodies need no help to be healthy. It has everything it needed. The greatest physician that ever lived lives right inside of our body. We need to just get the interference out. That interference comes today in a huge amount of toxins, heavy metals, molds, oftentimes 4 generations down through mom's umbilical blood that it comes. And that glyphosate, all those different types of things are killing our bodies. As when I was a mechanic, I would dip my hand in different solvents to get the grease out from between my fingernails all the time. Wouldn't even think about the solvents being soaked into my skin, getting into my bloodstream, having to be detoxified by the liver. The liver is an amazing organ. It's like the #1 detoxer. It's this huge, huge thing in the middle of your gut that filters our blood. And it might take scientists 8 to 10, 20, 30, 40 years to make a new chemical that they put on the market untested to human safety. Only 300 have really been tested before they put out into the human environment, believe it or not. Your liver can undo it in a nanosecond. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum going out. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Have an awesome day.
We will rise above. We will rise above. We will rise.